okay, the mystery of your transformation. That's what the subtopic says. So, the mystery of your transformation. And we have about 9 outlines. That is a lot. But let's see 9 outlines for this class for every entrepreneurs, investors, and business people. Context for the concept. Okay. Number 2, we're looking at the mystery of the incarnation. And number 3, the mystery of your incarnation. Okay. Number 4, the mystery of your transformation. Now, not the same thing. That's what I put here. Okay. Okay. Of your transformation. Number 4, the mystery. Thank you. Uh-huh. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay. Number 5, the Christ in you. Okay. That's where we stopped yesterday. And number 6, the mystery of your ideology. Okay. Okay. Number 7, we're supposed to look at the true meaning of your repentance. Okay. And second to the last, from laws to logic. And the last one, but not the least, the mind of Christ in the marketplace. So, the mind of Christ in the marketplace. Okay, so for the purpose of those just joining us, we just take maybe 5 minutes or less and do a little bit of revision, because we're just telling us that for us to actually help you understand the powers that God has deposited in you, and we have to find a common ground where everybody can accept, and then we can start building the trainings and the teachings from there. So the only person that gave us a clear picture or that we can lay hands on is the scriptures, and one of the guys that we like it, one of the apostles, Apostle John, he actually made the work easy for us. So we started telling us from the introduction of the context for the concept that the book of John, the Apostle John, did something very well from 1 John to 9, and then we went to 14. So he said in John Gospel, and that the beginning was the Word. That means the beginning was this Word that we are talking. And he said that the Word was with God, and the Word was God, and he was with God in the beginning. And through him all things that was made, and without him nothing that was made. So he told us that in him was life, and the life was the light of men. And then this light shines in darkness, and darkness cannot comprehend it. And he went to chapter 14 and told us that the word became flesh and dwelt among us. So we start saying that if God actually created everything in Genesis through words, and he actually created all in his image and likeness, that means our experience has been the production of our words. And we have to define words. Our words are simply sound that express our mind, our imagination. So any sound that makes meaning that people can understand, it becomes words. So for those that join us, I like to do one most important thing, because I will not really go to details, but I must do this one important thing. And this thing, I always repeat it in all my class. And why I repeat all my classes? Because I understand that repetition is a mother of learning. So it is how you repeat something, it comes to a point, the person's spirit will accept it. So we actually came to a crossroad as last week by telling us for some training now that God created 3 things in Genesis. The first thing God created was creation. Tell me what creation. And that you can say, let there be light. Let there be light. So, and there was light. Let there be firmament. There was firmament. Let there be this. So, number 2, God created the creatures. 10 creatures. And how he created the creature, he spoke to the earth. Let the earth bring forth its kind. Let the water bring forth its kind. So, earth bring banana, pineapple. So, earth brought everything that ever existed. So, God did not actually create the creatures by himself. He spoke to the earth, and the earth bring forth its kind. Spoke to water, water bring forth its kind. So, what actually created the creatures was the earth and the waters and everything you've seen, right? So God now did something very important. The third thing he created was creator. Tell not creator. How do you create the creator? So let us create man in our image and likeness. Say not image. Say not likeness. So we actually came to the conclusion that the image of God is natural. Say not natural. And likeness of God come through teaching. Say not teachings. Say not trainings. Say not mentoring. Say not coaching. So for you to act like God, like a creator, so you must be taught, you must be trained. So there are certain informations, teachings, and mentoring, sequential arrangement of information you need to receive called knowledge. Not because knowledge is packaged information tailored to solve a problem. Tell you knowledge is packaged information tailored to solve a problem. Okay, tailored to meet a need, tailored to make impact. So you see that actually, for me and you to regain back our rightful place as a creator, as a royal priesthood from a holy nation. So there are certain informations we need to know, and that led us to understanding that John's gospel was very bold and candid and unapologetical and explicit in declaring that Christ is actually divinity. So, and the Christ became flesh, manifest in the flesh, be visible in the flesh, appear and reveal in the flesh. And of course, we made known himself in the flesh. So, if everything that God thought in his mind, of course, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was his God. So, there was something he was thinking. So he actually spoke. He said the earth was without form and void, and the face of the face of the deep was covered with darkness, and the spirit of the Lord hovers on the water. His hovering was mean calculating, permutating, of course, analyzing. He was imaginating. He was pointing the dot, and then he now said, "Let there be light," and there was light, and he saw. The Bible says he saw, and he said it was good. He called it day and called the night, the darkness night. So what happened is that God actually created us to create our life. So the only way you can actually understand this is that you have to understand the mystery of the incarnation. So we said that how did God made his word to become flesh and dwell among us? So how did God come up with all the ideas that ever existed? We actually came to understand that everything that ever existed and was made from the word of God, and through him, even though a carpenter or a painter may be painting with his hands, the truth of the matter that it's actually the hands are the instruments of the mind. The hands only makes a move because the mind accepted it. Without the mind accepted it, it will not work. So the five senses are the instruments and vehicles of the mind. So your legs, your hand, your eyes are instruments of the mind. We did a practical the first day we taught the last week, and we spoke to we asked a lady, what do you use to stand up, your legs or your mind? The lady said my legs. Okay, say okay, no problem. Mind stop working. Legs stand up. Was speaking to the legs. Legs stand up. Leg could not stand up. Legs stand up. Leg could not stand up. Okay, let me speak to the mind now. Mind command the leg to stand up. What happened? The mind actually allowed the leg to stand. It stood up. So you can see that actually our five senses are the instrument and vehicle of our mind. So if God actually communicated his everything that he has expressed in his mind through words, and those things became a reality, are you not just also thinking that because of my confessions every time, because of your confession every time, that's why we are having the experience like having right now, because we live in the world of cause and effect. So everything that happens to us is actually a product of the way we think, because all behaviors are belief driven. Tell me, all behaviors are belief driven. So you can see that all behaviors are belief facilitated, belief justified, belief supported and endorsed. So we actually understand that for God to do something with you, the mystery of your incarnation, your own, for God to do something with you, God must first and foremost change your identity before he changes your circumstances. If God never changed your identity, he can never change your circumstances. Because we have to understand that we came to a conclusion at some point that all behaviors, behind every behaviors are beliefs. So we wrote something like that. Every behaviors you see. Okay, let me start from here. All behaviors you see, behaviors are product of beliefs. They're not beliefs. Then all decisions are product of value. They're not value. So values decide what make you decide the way you decide. A lot of us have core values that these things you cannot compromise. Like for me, for example, anybody that refuses to read and learn I cannot work with you. We cannot work together because we'll find it difficult to communicate. So my core values that learning is a royal habit, so you must learn. So inability to sit down and read and articulate your thought, we can't make any movement. One of my core values is that you must make sure you live your life based on budget. Tell no budget. You'll finally understand that every rich and wealthy man budget. Federal government has budget. State government. Only poor men spend money without budget. You want to work with me, you must pay yourself first, at least minimum of 10%. For the purpose of using the money to buy assets. They're not assets. If you're not thinking about assets, investment, then we cannot work, because each time we are talking, I'll ask you, what's the latest investment you just bought? Treasury bills, bond, mutual fund, real estate. So you're not talking like that. We have issues. You see my core values, I have some of them. So definitely, because all decisions I make is as a result of my values. So also we need to understand that all habits, of course, are decisions of perspective. They're not perspective. Perspective determines, of course, my habits. They're not habits. Habits don't just happen. So this guy you see becomes the root. They're not root. This one becomes the tree or the fruit. What do I want to call it? Fruit. So that so you cannot just begin to change the fruit. Okay, let me just clean this one. Let's call it fruit. So you cannot just change the fruit without changing the root. So we actually came to understand that God always changes people's identity. This identity is an identity. Before he changes the circumstances. They're not circumstances. But a poor man is so obsessed about the circumstances and forget that he also work on himself. Why? Because wealth never exceeds personal development. You see the world the way you are. Every poor man, their problems are bigger than them. Every rich man, their problems are smaller than them. How do you know their confessions? My problem is too big. He keep confessing negativity because of the way he sees himself. But rich and wealthy man, even in the midst of troubles, we are in charge. That's how I want to be in charge. You see, fire set up for the 3 Hebrew men. They look at fire and say, God will deliver us. Leave these guys. Did God deliver them? Yes. What happened? The confession of their mouth. Say, all lions happened with Daniel. Say, God will deliver me. No worry about this guy. Did God deliver Daniel? Yes. But we lose sight on what God wants us to focus on, our identity. That's why God changed Abraham to Abraham. God